play like this, visit pianohooks.com for full lessons and the Piano Hooks Patreon page for more advanced tutorials. For now, here's the simple version. For the song Ajeeb Dastan Hai Yeh, we are going to learn the chorus in 4 parts. The first thing we want to do is locate the middle of our keyboard. The middle of this 88-key keyboard is a group of 3 black keys and a group of 2 black keys. The right hand will be starting off by playing in a group of 2 black keys higher than the middle of the keyboard. And the right hand first key we play is the top black key of this group of 2 black keys. For the left hand, we want to find a lower group of 3 black keys. So if the middle of the keyboard is here, we will be here. And the left hand will start off by playing the bottom black key of this group of 3 black keys. Once we have our starting position, part 1 goes like this. For the right hand, you will notice that we are simply using only these 5 black keys. We start off by playing the top black key of a group of 2 black keys. Step down to this black key, come up again, step down, then we jump over to the group of 3 black keys. Step down, and to finish off, jump up to play the top black key of this group. So we have a pattern here. We stick with these 2 keys first, up, down, then we jump over to the lower group of 3 black keys. Top one, middle one, lowest one, and we jump up to the top. So we have up, down, next group, top, middle, bottom, top. When I say top, the top of this group of 3 black keys here. In terms of the rhythm, we have short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. The left hand will come in when we play short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. The very last long key here. Let's try that again. So we have short, long, go to the next group of black keys, short, long, short, and hands together for long. And again, reset the position, short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. This is quite a bit longer than our other longs, but for the sake of simplicity, let's just use short and long for the rhythm. For part 2, the right hand will be playing a very similar pattern. It starts off on the same key as part 1. The left hand, however, will get ready to drop down and play a low bottom black key of a group of 2 black keys here. Once we have this position, part 2 sounds like this. So you'll notice in part 1, we had this position. We played the short, long, short, long, short, long, short. We jumped up to play the top black key of this group of 3 black keys, and our left hand played the bottom black key of this group of 3 black keys. The only difference now is instead of ending here, part 2 ends here. We have the middle black key of a group of 3 black keys in the right hand, and the bottom black key of a group of 2 black keys in the left hand. Let's find our starting position for part 2, which is very similar to part 1, except the left hand is different. And let's try this together. So the right hand goes short, long, just like in part 1, short, long, short. Now the difference here is we only step up to the next black key. We don't skip up. We only step up. When we do that, the left hand plays this low black key. So let's try that without any hesitations. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. And again. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Let's review parts 1 and 2. We find our starting positions for part 1. Bottom black key of a group of 3 black keys in the left hand, and the top black key of a group of 2 black keys in the right hand. Now, if you don't have a full-size keyboard, you might be in a slightly different position on your keyboard. But in the end, you want this kind of separation. If you don't, and your left hand starts up here, which is really the same key at a higher pitch, your hands end up overlapping a lot, and it's not very comfortable. It can work, but if you have the space, spread out your hands. So we find our starting position, and let's play parts 1 and 2. Right hand goes first. Short, long, move down to this group. Short, long, short, and hands together for long. Right hand resets the position. The left hand will get ready for part 2. Short, long, long, short, and hands together for long. Let's review that again. Short, long, 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 long. Reset our position to part 2. Short, long, 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 long. What song should I do next? Leave a comment below. For part 3, our right hand left off in part 2 on the middle black key of this group of 3 black keys. So the right hand will play the top black key of this group of 3 black keys for part 3. And the left hand will come up and play the middle black key of this group of 3 black keys in the left hand here. Once we have this position, part 3 sounds like this. In part 3, our hands are slightly closer together than parts 1 and 2. We have a top black key of a group of 3 black keys here, and in the left hand, we have a middle black key of a group of 3 black keys. The right hand plays first. It plays this key, comes down, steps down that is, steps back up, steps back down, steps down to the low black key of this group of 3. Then it steps down to the nearest white key. Then it jumps down to the top black key of this group of 2 black keys. So we played basically a scale here. So 1 key at a time, side by side tones in a scale, except we had a little pattern at the top. Top, middle, then it kept going down. So let's find our position for both hands and finish off part 3. So we play the top black key of this group of 3 black keys, middle, back up to the top, then the middle again. Now we play the bottom black key, step down to the nearest white key, and drop down to this top black key of a group of 2 black keys. Now from here, we're going to go back up to the white key we played just a second ago, and at the same time, our left hand will play. But we don't end here. The right hand steps back down to play that top black key of a group of 2 black keys. Let's try again. The right hand ends up only playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different keys. So the right hand starts top, middle, bottom, white key. Next group of black keys, step back up to the white key and play hands together, then drop back down to this top black key here. Now with the proper rhythm, we have the same rhythm as we did in parts 1 and 2. We go short, long, short, long, short, long, short, and then we come back up here. Short, long. And again. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, short, long. Let's review parts 1, 2, and 3. We find our starting position for part 1, and let's focus on the rhythm. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Now part 2, we find our new position. The right hand is very similar to part 1. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, hands together for long. We reset our position for part 3. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, hands together, short, long. And one more time. Right hand goes first. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Reset for part 2. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Both hands move up for part 3. Short, long, short, long, short, long, short, short, long. And now we add part 4. For part 4, the right hand will be starting off by playing the same key as it did in part 1. But the left hand will go first in this case. It will start off by playing the bottom black key of this low group of 2 black keys. So part 4 sounds like this. You will notice the right hand is very similar to part 1. We go up, down, then to the next group of 3 black keys here. Top, middle, bottom. But instead of going back up to the top black key of this group here, as we did in part 1, we just stay on this bottom one. So it ends up getting repeated. So again, we have short, long, come down, short, long, long. Now the left hand goes first in this case. It plays the bottom black key of a group of 2 black keys. Then the right hand goes short, long, long, short. And when it plays this key again for long, the left hand comes up and plays a copycat key of the right hand. And again, we find our starting position for part 4, and we go left hand first. Then the right hand, short, long, long, short, and the left hand comes up to play long. Let's review parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. We find our starting position for part 4, and the right hand goes first. Short, long, 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 short. Hands together for long. Then we get into part 2 position. Short, long, 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 long. Both hands move up for part 3. Short, long, 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 long. And then for part 4, our left hand plays first, the bottom black key of a group of 2 black keys, and the right hand comes up to play a pattern very similar to part 1. Short, long, 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 and the left hand moves up for long. And again, short, long, 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 long. That was part 1. Now both hands move into a new position for part 2. Short, long, 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 long. Both hands move up for a new position of part 3. Short, long, 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 long. Now part 4, the left hand drops down to play this low black key, and the right hand goes up to play the top black key of a group of 2 black keys. Short, long, 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 and the left hand moves up to play long. take your playing to the next level, become a member at pianohooks.com. And if you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe.